The car has a large turning radius, which complicates its operation, both in the city and on rough terrain. The rear view camera gets very dirty, so even in the absence of rain it has to be wiped frequently. This problem is present in many cars. Lack of seat ventilation. Many will consider this a whim, but a car in this price category should be equipped with this option. Also, many do not like the fact that the basic version does not have heated seats. Many car enthusiasts lack a panoramic roof, for which they are even willing to pay extra. Weak paintwork. In off-road conditions, you need to be careful, as a random branch can leave a large scratch, the removal of which will be expensive. Many people complain about the poor suspension, which seems quite stiff for a crossover. Insensitive braking system. You need to be careful in traffic jams and traffic lights. It is not recommended to accelerate too much in heavy traffic. One of the biggest shortcomings of the Mazda CX-9 is its ergonomics. When you first get acquainted with the car, you get the impression that the controls were located by a child, no matter how. For example, the light is controlled using the turn signal control lever, like in many old cars. But the problem is further aggravated by the fact that this lever is almost completely covered by the steering wheel. Because of this, you often have to be distracted from driving or do everything by touch. Almost the same situation is with the climate system, which is closed by the gear shift lever. Many car owners claim that there are no niches in the cabin for storing various things and small items. Many buttons in the cabin are not backlit, which also makes movement difficult, especially at night. A big drawback of the ergonomics of the Mazda CX-9 is the lack of a system for storing the position of the mirrors. If the driver drives the car alone, then the problem does not seem so serious, but, for example, if his wife or another person also drives it, then each time you have to be distracted and spend time setting it up. Well, in the end, we can say with confidence that the car is somewhat overpriced. Cars from this manufacturer have always been decently priced, but many car enthusiasts are surprised by this amount. Read more about the disadvantages of the Mazda CX-9. It is difficult to find moments in the car that can be considered obvious disadvantages, but critics and particularly demanding car owners still found them. For example, they claim that the dashboard looks too provocative. This is due to the fact that it is made in a sporty style, which is considered traditional for Mazda. But whether this is a good solution for this crossover is up to everyone to decide for themselves. Also, some car enthusiasts do not like the exterior of the car. They argue that it should have been worked on more thoroughly. This is because it is very similar to the older CX-5 model. It also remains a mystery to many why the manufacturer did not give buyers the opportunity to choose one of several types of engines. But the only engine on offer is more than decent, so it's not such a problem. Despite its impressive dimensions, this car model has a small luggage compartment. If the car is purchased for a large family, this can become a problem. With the third row seats folded down, the trunk volume is 1,641 liters. For example, the Honda Pilot, which has smaller dimensions, has a luggage compartment volume of 1,779 liters. A surprise to many was the fact that the basic version of the Mazda CX-9 does not have adaptive cruise control. Most modern cars, even of a lower class, are equipped with such an option. Why you will have to pay extra for it in this car remains unknown. A significant problem with the model is the bevel gear. The car is equipped with an automatic transmission from Aisin, so the gearbox is made by the same manufacturer. For such a large and heavy car, this element turned out to be rather weak. The habit of pressing the gas to the max on a 3.7-liter engine can lead to failure of the element. The gearbox is designed for only 550 grams of oil, so don't be surprised that leaks will appear soon. An aggressive driving style is accompanied by large vibrations, so the seals and sealant suffer. If the breather fails, the oil is squeezed out quickly enough. If the oil leaks completely, the housing and bearings will be damaged, which will require replacement of the unit. Also, the problem with the gearbox lies in the design of the drive splines. Loads on the rear axle contribute to the destruction of the splines on the differential housing and on the transfer shaft. Sooner or later, the car will become completely front-wheel drive, which is due to the separation of the transmission parts. The drive shaft wears out quite quickly. On this car it is practically beyond repair. Despite the forks measuring 24 by 64, they are rolled to death. The shaft cannot be disassembled, so in order to replace the intermediate bearing, it will have to be cut. Fortunately, today car repair shops can restore the driveshaft even in hopeless situations, but such an undertaking will cost a pretty penny. The service life of the driveshaft is 150,000 kilometers, or even less. This fact does not please Mazda CX-9 owners at all, but what can you do? If you buy a used car with such mileage, then you definitely need to check the driveshaft. If even barely audible tapping is felt at startup, then the problem is most likely there. The issue price is within 30 to 50,000 rubles. The Mazda CX-9 crossover with 7 seats has gained considerable popularity all over the world. Compared to its analogs, the new model acquired a new, brighter, and catchier appearance, but received average characteristics. There are some shortcomings in the car, but Japanese quality and technology completely compensate for the few shortcomings.